November 19th, 2005, the Santiago Bernabéu, Real Madrid versus Barcelona. In the 67th minute, Ronaldinho received the ball on the left wing. He turned. He dribbled past one defender, then another, then a third, and scored his second goal of the night in Real Madrid's stadium, in front of 80,000 Real Madrid fans. The crowd did something they had never done before for an opposition player. They stood up and they applauded. A standing ovation from Real Madrid fans for a Barcelona player in the Bernabéu. That moment, captured on television and replayed millions of times, is considered one of the greatest individual performances in football history. Ronaldinho was 25 years old, the best player on earth, with a smile that made the entire world fall in love with football. 3 years later, Barcelona sold him for a fraction of what they paid. He never played at the highest level again. This is the story of Ronaldinho, the player who played with so much joy that the joy consumed everything else. In Vila Nova, a working-class neighborhood in Porto Alegre, Brazil, his father João worked nights in the car park of local club Grêmio. His mother Miguelina sold cosmetics door to door. They lived in a small wooden house, too poor for proper football boots. Ronaldinho played barefoot on the streets of Porto Alegre with whatever ball he could find. His older brother Roberto, who would later become his agent and manager, was also a footballer. Roberto spotted his younger brother's talent early and pushed him relentlessly. By age 7, Ronaldinho was already playing with teenagers, running rings around boys 5 years older. The local Grêmio Academy took one look and signed him immediately. What they saw wasn't just skill, it was joy, pure, infectious, irrepressible joy. Ronaldinho didn't play football to win. He played football because he loved it more than anything on earth. That love, that smile, would take him to the very top of the game, and eventually pull him away from it. He was 18 years old. By the time he was 20, Paris Saint-Germain had signed him for 5 million euros. In Paris, he was mentored by J.J. Okocha, the Nigerian maestro who played with a freedom that matched Ronaldinho's own. Two players who believed football was art, not just sport. Ronaldinho flourished, and the world started paying attention. But it was the 2002 World Cup in Japan and South Korea that announced him to the entire planet. Brazil versus England, quarterfinal. England were leading 1-0. Ronaldinho stepped up to take a free kick from 40 yards. David Seaman, England's experienced goalkeeper, positioned himself correctly. The ball sailed over him, into the net. Whether it was a cross or a shot, nobody knows for certain. Ronaldinho maintained it was deliberate. The football world believed him, because with Ronaldinho, nothing was impossible. Brazil won the World Cup. Ronaldinho, infectious smile beaming, danced through the streets of Yokohama with a medal around his neck. He was 21 years old, world champion. The greatest show in football was just beginning. What followed at Camp Nou over the next 4 years was something football has rarely seen before or since. Ronaldinho didn't just play football, he made people gasp. A backheel in traffic, a no-look pass, a dribble through 5 defenders, a chip from 30 yards. Every match contained a moment that people would talk about for years. The numbers told one story. Ballon d'Or in 2004, Ballon d'Or in 2005, Champions League winner in 2006, La Liga titles. But the numbers weren't the point. The point was the feeling. Watching Ronaldinho play football felt like watching someone who had never been told what was impossible. Because nobody had. He simply did what he felt. And what he felt was always extraordinary. The Bernabéu Ovation in November 2005 was the peak of everything. When Real Madrid fans, or one of the most demanding, proudest supporters in the world, stood and applauded a Barcelona player, it wasn't just respect, it was acknowledgement that they were watching something that transcended rivalry, something that transcended football itself. Ronaldinho, at 25, was the greatest player on the planet, and the whole world knew it. At Barcelona, it became something more, a distraction. Reports began emerging of Ronaldinho arriving late to training, missing sessions entirely, being seen at parties in Barcelona and Rio when he should have been resting. His physical condition, always considered precarious by those close to him, began to deteriorate. The 2006 World Cup in Germany was the first clear sign. Brazil, with Ronaldinho, Kaká, Adriano, and Robinho, were expected to win the tournament easily. They lost to France in the quarterfinals. Ronaldinho was almost entirely absent. The player who had made Real Madrid fans stand was invisible. He returned to Barcelona out of shape. Training attendance dropped further, the club whispered. The press began to write. When Pep Guardiola was appointed Barcelona manager in 2008, one of his first acts was to tell the club, "Ronaldinho is not part of my future." Barcelona, who had paid 30 million euros for him 5 years earlier, sold him to AC Milan for 21 million euros. Carlo Ancelotti signed him and immediately made an observation that captured everything. The decline of Ronaldinho hasn't surprised me. His physical condition has always been very precarious. His talent, though, has never been in question. But the consistency was gone. In 2011, aged 30, he left Milan and returned to Brazil. Flamengo, Atlético Mineiro, Fluminense, Querétaro, club after club, country after country, always the smile, always the tricks, always the love of the game, but never again the dominance, never again the Bernabéu moment. In 2013, there was one last flourish. At Atlético Mineiro, aged 33, Ronaldinho won the Copa Libertadores, South America's greatest club trophy, making him the only player in history to win the World Cup, Champions League, Copa America, Copa Libertadores, Ballon d'Or, and UEFA Club of the Year. 6 trophies, a set no other player has ever completed, at 33, playing in Brazil's domestic league. It was extraordinary, and it was the last extraordinary thing. He retired from professional football in 2018, on a pitch in Brazil, with the same smile he had always worn. And then, in March 2020, everything got worse. Ronaldinho and his brother Roberto arrived in Paraguay for a promotional event. They were arrested at the airport. Their passports were fake, real documents, fraudulent information. They spent 32 days in Agrupación Especializada, a maximum security prison in Asunción, the greatest footballer of his generation, the man who had received a standing ovation in the Bernabéu, in a maximum security prison. On his 40th birthday, Ronaldinho celebrated in a cell. The images were devastating, not because of judgment, but because of contrast. The Bernabéu, the smile, the standing ovation, versus a prison cell in Paraguay. How does a story travel that far? He was eventually released after paying a $90,000 fine and moved to house arrest for several months. As Rivaldo, his Brazil teammate, later said, he felt he'd already written his story in Europe. He wanted to come back and finish close to family and friends. He did come back. The ending just wasn't what anyone imagined. He still smiles. He still plays football. Charity matches, exhibitions, events where people pay just to watch him touch a ball. Because even now, even after everything, the touch is still there. The joy is still there. 94 goals and 81 assists at Barcelona. World Cup winner 2002. 2 Ballons d'Or. Champions League winner. Copa Libertadores winner. A career that touched every continent. A smile that won over every stadium, including Real Madrid's. Pep Guardiola, who sold him, once said, "Ronaldinho was the best player I ever managed. The best player. The one Guardiola sold. Because greatness and discipline are not always the same thing. Ronaldinho had one and couldn't quite hold on to the other. But here is what football will always remember. there was a night in Madrid, November 2005, when 80,000 Real Madrid fans stood up for a Barcelona player. And in that moment, football forgot about rivalry, forgot about money, forgot about everything, and simply applauded joy. That is Ronaldinho's legacy. Not the prison, not the decline, not the parties, the joy. This was the story football never fully told you. Subscribe. There are more stories where this came from.